But coming here, it made me a little jealous. I'm a great-grandfather already, and so when I see all you young people, including you, he's old enough to be my son, by the way.
But you still are the youngest person here.
And I only started learning about 7.5 years ago. I have no interest in learning. Matter of fact, I ran the other way. And hearing the opinions and the questions that you people ask.
It's different times, Michal. I know. I'm also blown away by them. I'm telling you, Rosh Hashanah night, the things we heard at the table over here, thank God I had the brains to keep my mouth shut and listen. Page 186.
It's a Navi, right? You say, because the kids always say, Lo Rav Alechem, Lo Tamalai, Kim Yishmor Dvar Hashem. That's one of the famous things.
Another famous saying is, even a fish wouldn't get caught if you keep his mouth shut. Okay, right there.
The Gemara says that Rabbi would start a shir with the jokes. I appreciate it. Shlomo would also start sharing with jokes, but you have to be there.
Are you comparing the elite to Reb
Shlomo, yeah.
Shlomo, wow. Look at that, eh?
See what you can accomplish in 7 and a bit years.
Next thing you know, I'll be compared to Moshe Rabbeinu.
Well, you definitely have a part of his neshama.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to page 186 for starters. Yeah. Okay, Tshuva היא חזרה הביתה. Tshuva is coming home. אתם יודעים חברים, תשובה זה לשוב למקום שלך. The deep meaning of tshuva is to return to your place. תשובה זה לחזור הביתה. Tshuva is to go back, to return home. לכן זה כל כך חשוב, so therefore it's so important, איך מקבלים יהודי שחוזר ליהדות שלו. We have to be so careful about how we receive a Yid who's coming back to his Yiddishkeit. תנו לי לשאול אתכם, let me ask you. איך אני יודע אם הגעתי לבית שלי או לבית של אדם אחר? How do I know that I came back to my house or if I knocked on somebody else's door? תארו לכם, so imagine שאני מופיע מאוחר בלילה, I show up late at night, שיכור ומלוכלך, drunk and dirty, ודופק בדלת של החבר הכי טוב שלי, and I knock on my best friend's door, כמובן שהוא פותח ונותן לי להיכנס. So obviously it's understood that he's going to open the door, he's going to let me come in, אבל סביר להניח, but it is logical to imagine, to assume, שגם יאמר לי משהו כמו, he's going to tell me something like, "Hey, Achi, my brother, Makar Alecha, what happened to you? Lama tamofia b'shar kazot? Why do you come at such a late hour? Lama ta kol kach meluchlach? Why are you so dirty?" Tov, דבר ראשון, תעשה לך, okay, fine. But the first thing is, תעשה לי טובה, לך תתקלח. Do me a favor, go take a shower. אבל כשאני מגיע לבית שלי, when I come back to my own home, מה אומרים לי בני ביתי? What does my family tell me? כמה טוב שהגעת. It's so good that you came home. דאגנו עליך, we were worried about you. בבית שלי מחכים לי כל הזמן. My home is the place where they're always waiting for me. Doesn't mean that if your parents say go take a shower that you didn't come home, but but you understand the idea, right? In other words, that's our responsibility towards each other. You understand? It's like you can have a best friend, right? But it's there's always, it's a little bit conditional, So, but your real home, in other words, the members of your home, when you're not home, they're aware, they miss you. And when you come home, even if you come home dirty, they're just happy that you came home. So אתם יודעים רבותיי, הרבה אנשים עושים תשובה, a lot of people do תשובה, אבל לא נותנים להם את ההרגשה שהם חוזרים הביתה. But we don't give them the feeling that they've come home. אומרים להם, we tell them, איפה היית כל הזמן, where have you been, למה אתה מגיע כל כך מאוחר, why so late, איך התלכלכת כל כך בעבירות, look at how filthy you've become with all your transgressions. למה, it's okay, למה אתה נראה כל כך לא יהודי, why do you look so not Jewish? למה אתה יודע כל כך מעט, why do you know so little? לא כך מקבלים אדם שחוזר הביתה. That's not the way to receive a person who's coming home. אדם שבא לביתו, when a person is coming back to his house, אפילו מאוחר בלילה, מלוכלך ושיכור, even if he's coming back dirty and drunk, אומרים לו, אוי, כמה היית חסר לנו, we missed you so much. אנחנו כל כך שמחים שחזרת, we're so happy that you came home.
What is this learning about? About us or about Bali Tshuva?
Well, hopefully we're all Bali Tshuva, right? So it's okay. You see, what he's saying over here is that we have a responsibility to one another to help one another do tshuva. Sometimes a person comes to do tshuva and they think that they're coming home, and the way they're received makes them feel that they didn't come home. And they're driven away. There's a story with the Chayz of Lublin. I've told you the story that the Reb Shlomo was a student by him, and so after Purim, the Chayz of Lublin says to him, he says, I don't want you to be here for Pesach. Find yourself some other place for Pesach. So the Reb Shlomo was like a real character. He was like a real character. So, and very clever. So he goes to the Rebbe and he says to her, listen, I know you got a lot of work to do for Pesach. I want to help. Whatever you need, I'll do the shopping, I'll do, just you tell me, I'll do the cleaning, I'll do anything you ask. She was so happy. And she's giving him all the different jobs to do, and he's mamish. He's great, he's doing everything, and he's taking responsibility. Comes Erev Pesach in the morning, and he says, goodbye. She says, what do you mean goodbye? It's Erev Pesach. He says, I'm sorry, I have to go. The Rebbe said I'm not allowed to stay here for Pesach. She says, what? She goes into the Rebbe. She says, what? I'm totally dependent on him. He's in charge of everything. He's sending him away. So the Rebbes weren't adamant. So he said, okay, you can stay. Erev Pesach in the afternoon.
Bought himself a ticket.
Huh?
Said he bought himself a ticket.
Bought himself a ticket. Erev Pesach in the afternoon, this filthy drunkard comes in and he says, can I see the Rebbe? And the Rav Shlomo says to him, how about you go and clean yourself up before you come in to see the Rebbe? So the guy says, okay, forget it. And he leaves. A few minutes later, the Chayz of Lublin comes in and he says, was anybody here? And the Rav Shlomo says, yeah, there was this disgusting drunkard was here. And the Chayz grabs him and he says, if you know what's good for you in this world and in the world to come, you better go and find him and bring him back. So Reb Shlomo is like, whoa, okay. So he starts looking for this drunkard. He goes from bar to bar and finally finds him some bar on the floor under a table. Shikar out of his mind. He says, the Rebbe wants to see you. He says, too late. Forget it. Well, the Reb Shlomo knew that his life depends on this. And he was a big guy, grabs him, puts him on his shoulders and carries him through the streets and brings him into the Chayza. Chayza takes this man in, and the Reb Shlomo obviously gets out of the room. And later at the Seder, this man is sitting next to the Chayza of Lublin with a new kapote, with a shtreimel. And the Reb Shlomo is like looking at this guy, like he can't believe his eyes. This man is like awesome. This man is awesome. Anyway, finally, after a few days, the Chayza tells the Reb Shlomo what the story was about. He says, this man was my top student, and nobody understood what I'm teaching better than him. He, Mamish, was my top student. And unfortunately, like page 187, unfortunately what happened was that he had made some stupid mistake in his life, and he just couldn't forgive himself, and he just went down and down and down, and he ended up leaving and becoming a drunkard and a street bum and so on. Anyway, this Purim was announced in heaven. I was told. I gave Shalach Manis to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and I was told that Hashem wants to give me Shalach Manis also. What would I like to have for Shalach Manis? I said, I'd like to have my student back. I'd like to have my student back. So it was said in heaven, okay, he's going to come back. And Pesach is 30 days after Purim, so he had to come back before Pesach. And I knew that you don't have the eyes, or you don't yet have the eyes to see this man properly. So that's why I didn't want you here. And in other words, the Chayz of Lublin knew that, that it was such a delicate thing that if anybody would say the wrong thing to this fellow, he would just leave. So, if you think about it, besides all the other things that we have to do tshuva for, or that I have to do tshuva for, one of the things that we got to consider is like all the times that we didn't look at somebody properly. But we also, the other point of this lesson is to know that that when is your tshuva real? When you feel at home.
Feeling at home means one feels welcome.
That you feel welcome, yeah. That you're in the right place. Like if you go into a place and you're doing tshuva and they're not welcoming you, that's not. Find another place. Okay. So, there's so much to learn about Yom Kippur. We should be blessed to learn as much as we can. So let's go to page 191. The Rebbe used to give Lekach on Erev Yom Kippur, right? Or was it just Rosh Hashanah? Erev Rosh Hashanah. Huh? Also?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a custom.
That's what you asked for.
Yeah.
Last year you did a super shear on the differences between Slicha, Mechila, and
Kapara. Yeah. You have notes, eh?
Okay.
You have notes there.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Yeah. Okay, so like among Hasidim, the custom is to go to the Rebbe to get a bracha before Yom Kippur. Again, Elka Rezel Bas 5 Nishmasa. And that the merit of her granddaughter, and your name? Karen Lee Tasha? Rivka Tasha? The merit of your holy granddaughter, your neshama should have an aliyah, and since you're already up there, stir things up a little bit, that Mashiach should come faster, and that your granddaughter should find her chassan already. And all others who need to find their soulmate. So, Erev Yom Kippur, למרות שיש בו דווקא מצווה לאכול ולשתות, right? So you know that the mitzvah in Erev Yom Kippur is to actually eat and drink, right?
See, look at the word.
Lamrot, despite. Lamrot, despite. Despite, D-E-S-P-I-T-E. Okay. So the mitzvah in Erev Yom Kippur is to actually eat. And as a matter of fact, the Rebbe always used to tell on Erev Yom Kippur, would tell the story that his father, Reb Levi Yitzchak, all year long would eat only using one hand. And when Erev Yom Kippur, at the meal before the fast, he would use both hands because it was a mitzvah to eat. Okay, so put away your chopsticks and use your hands. Okay. No, he did. He would use both hands. Otherwise, he would just use one hand. There are Hasidim that eat everything with a spoon, and they don't use forks because they say, if you could lift it, why stick it if you could lift it? With a fork, you stick it, so they didn't even want to pierce anything. They just wanted to lift everything up. That's a Litvische Scheile. If a kasha fragt man nicht kamaise. If a meise fragt man nicht kasha.
I come from a family of
You come from Hasidim also. Ich weiß. They used to call the Alter Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, they used to call the Litvak. Okay. So Erev Yom Kippur, למרות שיש בו דווקא מצווה לאכול ולשתות, הוא קצת כמו יום כיפור עצמו. So it's like a little bit like Yom Kippur, right? And if you look at the footnotes, it's a Gemara in Pesachim, it says there, Tani Chiyeh Barav Medifti, Ktib, it says, V'nitem et nafshotechem b'tisha lechodesh, ba'erev. So it says that you should you should cause suffering to your being on the 9th of the month. So he asks, do we actually fast on the 9th of Tishrei? והלא בעשירי מתענין, we fast on the 10th. אלא לומר לך, the Torah is teaching us, כל האוכל ושותה בתשעה בו, everybody who is eating on the 9th and drinking on the 9th of Tishrei, מעלה עליו הכתוב כאילו מתענה בתשיעי ועשירי. The Torah considers it as if you fasted on the 9th and on the 10th. Okay? So the eating on the 9th is like fasting on the 10th. So יש משהו באוויר, there's something in the air, כל כך קדוש, I'm back at the end of the second line on top. So holy, כל כך יפה ונשגב, so exalted, כל כך טהור, so pure. יש אנשים העושים כפרות בשחיטת תרנגול. There are those who do כפרות on Erev Yom Kippur by getting a chicken shechted and giving it to the poor. אחרים מחליפים אותו בצדקה לעניים, others exchange it with tzedakah for the poor. ומה שמאוד חשוב בערב יום כיפור, הולכים כל אחד ואחת לטבול במקווה, and what's also very important is that the minhag is that everybody goes to the table in the mikveh in Erev Yom Kippur. התפילה המטהרת היא דווקא במי גשמים. The dipping in the mikveh has to be dafka in rainwater, b'mayim shelo naga behem yad adam, water that wasn't touched by human hands. In other words, that wasn't brought there by human hands. Ki atem yodim ma meir b'Yom Kippur, because you realize what's shining on Yom Kippur. B'Yom Kippur meir ha'omek hachi amok shebenishmatenu. What's shining on Yom Kippur is the deepest depths of our souls. Oto ha'omek shelo naga bo yad adam. It's the depth of the soul that's never been touched by the hand of man. Ayin lo ra'ata, no eye ever saw it. Elokim zulatecha, only you, God, have seen this. Right? So understand. So the what he's telling us over here is that basically, whether you're conscious of it or not, the Erev Yom Kippur, it's already accessible to get in touch with you with the deepest depth of your being. Okay. וכאן אני חייב לספר לכם על רבי לוי יצחק וערב יום כיפור. So I need to tell you a story about the B'ditchever on Erev Yom Kippur, page 192. גם אצל רבי לוי יצחק וב'דitchever ערב יום כיפור היה מיוחד מאוד. It was very special there on Erev Yom Kippur. הוא קבע מנהג שכל יהודי צריך לבוא אליו עם רובל אחד לצדקה והוא יברך אותו. He made this custom that every Yid in his town would have to come to him with a ruble, and he would give him for tzedakah, and he would give him a blessing. ערב יום כיפור אחד, כבר מאוחר, עוד מעט כל נדרי. One Erev Yom Kippur was already late, and it was close to the time for Kol Nidrei. אבל רבי לוי יצחק עדיין לא הולך לבית הכנסת, but he wasn't going to shul yet. הוא כנראה מחכה למשהו. He was waiting for something. ובסוף נכנסת אליו אישה, finally this woman comes in, ענייה מאוד, very poor. ואומרת לו, and she says to him, Rebbe, הנה הבאתי לך רובל, look, Rebbe, I brought you a ruble, בבקשה תברך אותי, please give me a blessing, והוא אומר לה, and he says, בוודאי אני מברך אותך. Of course I'm giving you a blessing. ואז אומרת האישה, so then the woman said, Rebbe, יש לי ילד, I have a child. תברך גם אותו, bless him too. אבל אני מאוד ענייה, I'm very poor, ואין לי עוד רובל לתת לך בשביל בני, I don't have another ruble to give you for my son. אומר לו רב לוי יצחק, so לוי יצחק says, אני מצטער, I'm sorry, אני לא יכול לברך את הילד שלך, I can't bless your son. את יודעת את התעריף שלו, you know that there's a price for התעריף שלי, you know my price, רובל לכל אחד, 1 ruble per person. האישה מתחילה להתווכח איתו, the woman starts arguing with him, אבל רב לוי יצחק בשבילו, רב לוי יצחק is maintaining his ground. ובסוף היא אומרת, finally she says, בסדר, she says, fine, אל תברך אותי, don't bless me, תברך רק את הילד שלי. Just bless my son. לשם הדברים האלה, as soon as רב לוי יצחק heard these words, נהרים פניו של רב לוי יצחק, רב לוי יצחק's face started to shine, Miyad hu ras lebeit HaKnesset, he ran to the shul right away, Poteach et Aron HaKodesh, and he opened up the ark, the holy ark, V'omer, and he says, Shamata Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the world, did you hear that? Ma amra ota isha, did you hear what this woman said? He amra al tevarech oti, rak tevarech et hayeled. She said, don't bless me, just bless my son. Tevarech et hayeled sheli. Lama shegam ata ribono shel olam lo tomar kacha banecha. So why don't you, Master of the world, say the same thing for your children? Nora vayom. Awesome. Awesome. Right? And this is plain and Pashut awesome. In other words, he's saying to the Rebbeinu Shalom, give up your priority for the sake of your children. Right?
And then it's like that. But he told that, he got something to happen so that he could, like the story with the drunkard.
Yeah.
So he can talk to that Krishna.
Yeah, so that he was he was known as the defender of the Jewish people. Right? And Friend Mordechai, somewhere in the house, I have a book called The Defender of Israel with a bunch of stories of Reb Yitzchak. Maybe you'll want to read it. So he says, Yesh meyot sipurim ka'ele. There's hundreds of stories like this. Al Reb Yitzchak be'erev Yom Kippur. Hundreds of stories about things like this on Erev Yom Kippur. אתם מבינים? We're on page 193, second line. רב יצחק היה מחכה שמישהו יספק לו טיעון מול הקדוש ברוך הוא. רב יצחק was waiting that somebody should provide him with an argument against God, or that he could bring to God. והנה סיפור נוסף, and here's another story. שוב, ערב יום כיפור, מאוחר, it was already late. Reb Yitzchak לא מגיע לבית הכנסת, and he's not arriving in shul. וכולם באים אליו ומנסים לדחוק אותו, everybody is coming and trying to rush him. Rabbi, מאוחר, it's already late, Rabbi. It's already late. אבל הוא דוחה אותם, he keeps on sending them away. ושוב מגיע אישה עם רובל ביד ואומרת, and again it happens, a woman comes with a ruble and she says, Rabbi, תברך אותי שבעלי יחזור אליי. She says, Rabbi, give me a blessing that my husband should come back to me. הוא ברח מהבית, he ran away from home, ואני לא יודעת איפה הוא, and I don't know where he is. שואל אותה רב לוי יצחק, so רב יצחק asks her, מדוע הוא ברח? Why did he run away? עונה האישה, so the woman said, הוא טוען שנהייתי מכוערת, he's complaining that I've become ugly, והוא לא יכול לחיות איתי, that he can't live with me. אומר לו רב לוי יצחק, so לוי יצחק says, ומה את משיבה על כך, and what do you have to say about that? אומרת האישה, so the woman says, נכון שנעשיתי מכוערת, it's true, I've become ugly, זה כואב, it hurts, ובכל זאת, but nevertheless, איך הוא יכול לשכוח כמה יפה הייתי כשעמדתי לידו תחת החופה? How could he possibly forget how beautiful I was when I stood under the chuppah with him? ברגע זה לא יכול היה רב לוי יצחק לשלוט בעצמו. רב לוי יצחק couldn't control himself anymore. הוא רץ לבית המדרש, פותח את ארון הקודש, he runs to the shul, and he opens up the ארון הקודש, ומתחיל לבכות, and he begins to cry, ריבונו של עולם, Master of the world, נכון שאנחנו כבר לא כל כך יפים. Yes, we're not so beautiful anymore. אבל איך אתה יכול לשכוח כמה יפים היינו כשעמדנו על הר סיני? How could you forget how beautiful we were when we were standing at Mount Sinai? נורא ואיום ממש. ממש. Totally awesome. Right? So, And so, but the thing that we learn from Avraham Avinu is, the thing we learn from Avraham Avinu is that, he defends the people of Sodom. Thank you. And he could have just as easily gone to the people of Sodom and say, you guys are in big trouble and you deserve it, which obviously they did, right? But instead, he argues with God. In other words, Hashem doesn't need me to be his lawyer. Hashem wants us to be lawyers for each other. Hashem wants us to defend one another. And like we've been learning in the last few lessons, we're all intertwined, we're all responsible for one another. And when we see somebody else doing something negative, we got to understand, I have a part in this, somehow. I have to do something about this. I have to make it better. It's not just the other person. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is also another one of my questions I thought about never asked. All these people in here are 100%. Let's take what we just learned. I am not at this level.
So
I understand where the Rebbe is coming from.
Yeah. So
but I couldn't say something.
But you see, so what's the question? Why I read the story? The story still is inspiring.
It's inspirational, yeah.
That's the point. In other words, it gives us a sense of that we've got a lot further to go. It warms the neshama, right? Hearing a story like this is very warming to the neshama. In the years that my Yiddishkeit crashed, what started helping me come back was reading Hasidic stories. I wasn't really learning, but I would read stories. And the more stories I read, the more I was warming up. It's a very good thing to read stories.
And warming up means we became closer to
wanting to be closer, coming a little bit closer. Still a long way. There's still a long way to go, right? But still, you read these stories. It's how should we say, the Litvak in you maybe doesn't accept it so fast, but your neshama is happy to hear it.
I'm not so much a Litvak as I am a Canadian.
I didn't mean anything insulting. We all have a shtickle Litvak in us.
I hear what you're saying. That it can be done, that the fact. Yes, I understand it now.
It's like the famous part of when people ask if the Baal Shem Tov stories are true.
Yes.
They say that if you don't believe any of them, then you're a kafir, then you don't believe.
The Sanzer said it. Says if you believe every story, then you're a fool. But if you don't believe it, then you're wicked.
Yes, you have to believe that they could have happened.
What do
You heard? What?
I'm sorry?
I'm saying, did you be able to hear him?
Yes, I heard, but she was speaking. I couldn't.
She has 4 names. Do you remember?
My daughter has 7 names. And she loved it when somebody said, what's your name?
All 7.
And she said, which one do you want? No, I only have one daughter. And
I remember 4. Karen, Lee, Rivka, Pesha.
Okay. You want to say something?
I was going to ask you, what do you mean when you say no? What does that mean?
No, it's not for having.
He means what he says, Karen.
I can't open up the Orna Kodesh and talk to God directly.
But you could, but anything that's going on in your life, and for me, these stories, also, I love them, and they bring me back to a place, and I I'm not feeling like I come in for I read it, I feel the same way about your stories. But there's also a level of like anything that's going on in your life is not stuff. It's not like it's just happening. It's all a microcosm of like the bigness of Hashem. So anything that's happening in your life can be turned into a tefillah. Doesn't mean we're on the level to like run to the Aron Kodesh and be like Hashem. You have to be like, wow, I'm going through this. Like maybe also the world, like maybe also your life is connected to the entire world. And like there's something about what's happening with you that can be turned into a tefillah for all of Israel.
Gut gesagt.
If I would have started learning at your age, I may have become the bubble and door right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Baruch
At least
Hashem.
until 120.
Well, I intend to live forever. I simply cannot ingest all this learning in one lifetime. You're right. You're right.
Let's go weiter, yeah? Okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
So Yehudim Shel Yom Kippur Jews, you ever heard of such people? They come to shul once a year. 194.
I'm in charge of my shul for reserved seating. I cannot tell you how many non-members
Come on, Yom
me.
Kippur.
I only want for one day. Do I have to pay for three? I can't say how many people have to.
You tell them we're only charging for one day, but you're welcome for 3. You heard what I said?
Yes.
That's tell them we're only charging for one day, but you can come out 3.
I'm talking to Jews, and Jews like the bottom price.
Yeah, this is the bottom price. You want to hear the top price? Okay. So, בבית הכנסת שלי במנהטן, in my shul in Manhattan, ובכל בתי הכנסת בעולם ישנם יהודים שמגיעים רק ביום כיפור בצערי. There are people that come only on Yom Kippur to shul, unfortunately. אבל אני תמיד אומר לבני קהילתי, but I'm always telling the people in my shul, אתם בטח חושבים, you probably are thinking, שאנחנו המתפללים קבוע בבית הכנסת, that we who are davening regularly in the shul, אנחנו העיקר בעלי הבית, that we're the main body of the shul, we're the masters of the house, ואלה שמגיעים רק ביום כיפור, תפלים, and that those people who come just in Yom Kippur, that they're just, secondary. Secondary, like tuffle, like, there's ikr and there's tuffle. There's ikr and there's tofu. There's ikr and there's tuffle. Okay, the main course and the, and the vegetarian stuff, yeah?
Yeah, but don't call them.
Okay. So, רק אורחים, you probably think, they're just guests. אבל דעו לכם, but you should know שאתם טועים, you're making a mistake. הקדוש ברוך הוא מחכה ליהודים האלה כל השנה. God is waiting all year long for these Yidden who are coming just on Yom Kippur. הם אלה העושים את יום כיפור קודש קודשים. They're the ones that make Yom Kippur the holy of holies. כשרואים, wait. כשרואים בשמיים יהודי רחוק שחוזר לבית הכנסת ביום כיפור, when they see in heaven that there's a Yid who's so far away and he still comes to shul on Yom Kippur, even if it's just for a minute, Givalt Ezer Simcha Yesh Sham, there's such a great joy. Right? The Reb Shlomo said, the way he put it was, Max comes into shul on Yom Kippur just for 10 minutes, and the people see Max come in and they say, here's Max, he's here for his annual visit, ha ha ha. But in Shemayim, in heaven, everybody goes quiet. Shh, Max came home. Let's hear what he's got to say. So, כשרואים, right, כך גם בין ההורים וילדים, so too with parents and children, כמובן שהם שמחים בילדים שלהם, שהם רואים בכל יום. Of course, parents are happy with seeing their children every day, אבל ילד שמגיע הביתה פעם בשנה, but a kid who comes home once a year, כשהם רואים אותו, when they see him, הלב שלהם מתפוצץ משמחה, their heart is bursting with joy. Right? So, basically, in different words, like, what he's alluding to is another teaching, and that is, Hashem looks at you the way you look at other people. If you're looking down at somebody else, like, then how do you expect Hashem to have complete compassion on you? Right? And you want Hashem to be happy that you came home. So be happy that the guy next to you came in for 5 minutes. And Hashem is happy that they came in. Right? So don't make this silly mistake of pretending that their 10-minute visit or 5-minute visit isn't worth anything.
I would have known this, it would have been so hard for me to come home.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Okay, so everybody knows that Yom Kippur night we begin with Kol Nidrei, right? So Tfilat Leil Yom Kippurim, page 195. The prayers of Yom Kippur Eve. Hayom HaKadosh VaMekudash VaMashmei Shubah. So here the holy day, this exalted holy day is arriving. Oh, I'm sorry, there was something I was going to explain that Michal asked about. What did Reb Shlomo mean that these Yidden who come just for a few minutes, that they're making it Kodesh Kodeshim? Right? It's a good question. Revaya, you want to answer him? Why not? Reb Shlomo said that the Yidden who come just for a few minutes once a year on Yom Kippur, they're the ones who turn Yom Kippur into the Holy of Holies. More than the people who attend Shul all year long. He's not saying that you shouldn't come to Shul all year long, but what is that supposed to mean? You can think about it.
So they're not, all year long, they're not even so connected for Holy
So Reb Shlomo has a famous saying, maybe not every Yid is Kadosh, but every Yid is Kodesh HaKadoshim. And Chanukah, I put up the sign outside, there's all these Yidden coming to see the Chanukah candles in Yerushalayim. So I put up a sign outside near the menorah and the little gate, and I put the quote in Reb Shlomo's name. Maybe not every Yid is Kadosh, but every Yid is Kodesh Kadoshim. Sometimes I just watch through the window to see the reactions of the Yidden when they're reading the sign. Not everybody stops to read it, but there are people who stop to read it, and they look at it and they say, yeah.
It takes more of an effort for some people to make it for 5 minutes than it does for others to be.
That's also true. That's also true.
Once a year, we go into the picture.
Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol goes into the Holy of Holies, right? So, because we're together. So it's like we were learning that, the Pintel Yid, that definitive point of your being, right? That's Kodesh Kadoshim. that cannot be messed up. Okay. And like some of you just said, that Yid who comes just for a few minutes on Yom Kippur, why did he come? Because it's his Pintel Yid. He said Kodesh Kedoshim. In other words, on the Kodesh level, not every Yid is the same. One guy eats Eide Charedis.
Excellent.
One guy eats, and the airline, and United Airlines, and when the flights that come from the States to here, so there's this yogurt that you get, and it has 4 hechsherim on it. I'm not joking. I saved the label somewhere. It's and they call it Achdus or something like that. Unity. My question is, are you allowed to eat it at all? First of all, the yogurt is actually free. You're only paying for the hechsherim. But
it's a vested.
Whatever it is, right? Like, if there's 4 hechsherim, it's like each one sort of doesn't really recognize the other one. So for each hechsher that's there's 3 others that say that one is not good enough, But let's forget that question. Leave that alone. That's just kidding, okay? That was for somebody who's learning for smicha.
Oh, you got that here too, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Can you buy anything that has less than, I don't know, 2 hechsherim?
So the thing is like this. On the Kodesh level, so this one is like when he davens or when she davens, like mamish, they're davening like unbelievable, right? Then there's another Yid, maybe barely puts on tefillin, maybe comes like once in a while, whatever it is, On the Kodesh level, there are different gradations, one is more connected, one is less connected, and so on. But on the Kodesh Kadoshim level, and the level of Etzem Neshama, every Yid is equally connected. Equally. No less than Moshe Rabbeinu, no less than anybody else. And when this Yid who comes in just for a minute on Yom Kippur, he is the evidence of Kodesh Kedoshim more than everybody who's there every day. Okay. So don't look down at Max, who shows up for just 10 minutes once a year.
The Kodesh Kedoshim is like spokes in a wheel, because all the spokes are equal.
Well, the central point is the Kodesh Kedoshim, right? So back to page 195. So the prayers of Yom Kippur, of the evening of Yom Kippur. Hayom HaKadosh v'Mekudash v'Mashmesh u'ba, the holy and sanctified day is approaching. Kulam ba'im lebeit hakneset u'mevakshim slicha zeh mizeh. Everybody comes to shul, and everybody's apologizing one to another, right? You have to forget that's very important before Yom Kippur. It's always important, but especially before Yom Kippur. Only after you've apologized to the people, then you ask for forgiveness from God.
This has to be in a one-to-one, or can be in one part?
You see, if it's something that you actually, the person knows that you hurt them, then you got to go and apologize to them. Okay. ומוציאים את ספרי התורה מארון הקודש, we take the ספרי Torah out of the Aron Kodesh, מקיפים בהם את הבימה, and tomorrow there's a הכנס ספר Torah at Marianot, by the way. And we surround the bima with the Sefer Torah. B'chol echad nigash u'menashik et haSefer. Everybody kisses the Sefer Torah. Mevakesh slicha mihaTorah. and everybody is asking forgiveness from the Sefer Torah, B'vakasha Torah HaKdosha. Please, Holy Torah, Tistachi lanu shelo kiyamnu et ma shekatuv bach. Please forgive us that we didn't fulfill everything that's written inside you. Tistachi lanu shelo tavalnu b'chol milah b'chol ot shelach. Forgive us that we didn't dip in every word and in every letter of yours. אתם יודעים ידידים, בשנה שעברה הבטחנו לקדוש שבריחו כל כך הרבה וקיימנו כל כך מעט. Right, my friends, last year we promised God so much and we fulfilled so little. כך פגמנו בדימוי העצמי שלנו. And we also affected our self-image. והשנה אנחנו כבר לא כל כך בוטחים בעצמנו. So this year we don't have as much self-confidence. ואז התפילה, and then page 196, and then the prayer begins. תפילת ליל יום הכיפורים הוא לא ספק אחת התפילות הגבוהות ביותר בכל השנה. The prayers of Yom Kippur are surely one of the highest of all year long. דעו לכם ידידים, דווקא ביום כיפור, you should know that דווקא in יום כיפור מוכרחים להתפלל עם המון שמחה ושירה. דווקא in יום כיפור you have to daven with a lot of joy. וכמה רבאים היו אפילו רוקדים, אצל כמה רבאים היו אפילו רוקדים בליל יום הכיפורים. There were rabbis by whom the Hasidim used to even dance in Yom Kippur night. Okay, so you can listen to Shlomo singing Kol Nidre on YouTube. It's amazing.
So we were looking in the Machzor. So Chabad Machzor had us. The vows that we were announcing were from this Yom Kippur to the next, but the other Machzors were not bachelor forward. So
No. In the annulment of the vows, first of all, Kol Nidre is basically you have to know that what do you call it? A vow that you actually made is only vows that you didn't say V'nader. And the reason that we have Kol Nidre is like this. It's a prayer. It's a pretty ancient prayer, and Jews were always being the Crusaders and others tried to get the Jews to convert. So at the beginning of Yom Kippur and Kol Nidre, one of the lines is that should I, God forbid, not have the strength to withstand the torture, and I might say I accept something else other than Hashem Echad, I'm annulling that right now. But you can't make the mistake of saying, oh, I promised to somebody, and in your mind think, I already pre-annulled my vows. That has no meaning whatsoever.
this isn't about people, isn't it?
It's any kind of vows. It's Kol Nidre.
And that's the reason why we can't agree now for the Chazan and people on the other side because they are
Like the best in a certain sense, yeah. Okay, there's a whole bunch of Kol Nidres on YouTube.
Is that Shlomo Muslim?
Yeah.
That